It is time for one of the weirdest traditions in Ohio State football media, Ohio State Hotel Check-In Day. We're here in Columbus, Ohio, where the Ohio State Buckeyes are about to walk past us and walk into a hotel. Why are we here? Tony Gerdeman is here with me to answer that question because we've been talking about it for 20 years, and I'm sure you have a good answer by now.
No, a tradition like no other for very good reason.
It's like the Masters, except there's no pimento cheese sandwiches. Other than that, it's exactly like the Masters.
No, it is very unique. I wonder, new SID Will Pantagis will get out here and be like, what? Why are you, what is this? And it's been going on for probably 25 years now.
Yeah.
Started by Jim Davidson of the Ozone way back when he would come out here and shoot photos of the players because it'd be the first time we got to see them.
Yeah.
And that's no longer the case anymore. For one, you get to watch them practice, but this would be back in the day, Tom, back when you were much younger, you could...
we all were much younger, but go on.
You wouldn't see the players between spring and now. And generally, you wouldn't see the freshmen until now because early enrollees weren't as big of a thing. So this would be the first time to see Duron Carter, the first time to see Dane Sanzenbacher, guys like that. Vern Golston coming in, like, what's he looking like now? And then also trying to get, like, who's going to sneak in, who's going to be late, who are we still waiting on? And you'd get to see, like, all of the changes from the players. What's Liam McCullough wearing? Mm-hmm. So all of these different things that has become tradition that is now as much obligation as tradition.
Well, and the first year I remember doing this, I was working in TV in 2002, and that was a year when this really was the first time you saw a lot of these guys. Maurice Claret enrolled early that year, and he was the only one. And so the rest of that class was, you got Quinn Temple, one of the ops guys walking in, and in 2002 that was Mike DeAndrea. That was it was. Quinn Temple, who are you wearing?
Kevin Reese.
That is 2002. That was one of those years where recruiting was a big deal at that point. But all the names that were the big names in that class were not the ones who ended up being the big names. Everyone was excited to see 5-star linebacker Mike DeAndrea and 3-star linebacker A.J. Hawk kind of slipped in the side door unnoticed, and 5-star quarterback Justin Zwick. Everyone was waiting to see 5-star quarterback Justin Zwick. And then there was this 3-star kid from Glenville who was like the lowest rated kid in the class named Troy something.
Last guy in the class.
Last guy in the class, yes. So, you never know who these guys are going to end up being. But yeah, for back then, it was the first time you would see these guys. The only true freshman this year who we didn't see in the spring was Tucker Smith, the offensive lineman. He's wearing number 65 out of Arizona. He was at practice last week, so we've seen him a little bit already. And then you've got some transfers that we've obviously seen plenty already. So, right now I'm kind of wondering, okay, is Caden Curry going to come walking through or something like that? Are we going to see someone who we're not expecting to see? At this point, I would not think so.
Yeah, well, no, not Caden Curry. I was thinking somebody if like Taiwan Malone had an extra year. That wouldn't be a bad thing. But no, Ryan Day talked about this on Thursday after the first practice about check-in day, and he said, back in the day when he was doing it, you walk in with your box fan, and that's when you first get to meet your teammates. And we've seen, talking of Jim Davidson, the photos over the years where guys are carrying in box fans, guys are carrying in big pillows, any kind of creature comfort. One time, a whole bunch of cinnamon rolls from Vern Golston brought in. Duron Carter brought in a PlayStation or an Xbox and a television. So it was always interesting to see what kind of things that were brought in back when it wasn't the business that it is now. Because if you tried to roll in with a case of cinnamon rolls or an Xbox, I'm not sure it would be allowed.
I think you might get high-load by strength coach Mickey Marotti and nutrition guru Kayla Olson may high-low you on that one. So right now, just to sort of set the stage for you, we are expecting the team to be here around 6:30. It is just about 6:30, and we've seen so far one player and one staffer come in. But generally what will happen is we'll be standing around waiting, and then all of a sudden there will be a flurry of people. And then you also have fun moments where you see someone walking in and they're either wearing an Ohio State something, or they're someone who looks like they're in their late teens or early 20s and in reasonably good shape. And
welcome to your first check-in day.
You're wondering if this person is affiliated with Ohio State or not. That is Andrew. He is one of the new SIDs. But yes, you have lots of folks walking by, and you also will get the random folks who are just staying here and who are walking in and wondering if the Rolling Stones are staying here. It's like, no, just a bunch of
when I got out of my lift,
in
just so
their
you know,
late
when I got out of my
teens
lift,
and early
the lift's
20s.
like, oh my God, they're here for you. What kind of star are you? I said, not here for me.
There you go. Someone just walking out and saying that their Lyft driver was wondering what the heck was going on.
That's what we get a lot of here.
Yes,
and
yes,
you were just
absolutely.
talking about it, and boom, there you go.
Yep.
Great timing. That's pre-production.
There you go. This is why we have so many meetings about this every year. So while we're waiting, we can talk. We have. We will try and narrate for you so you can tell who's coming in, because this is one of these things where this is an opportunity for us to get photos of guys without helmets on, and while they're standing relatively still and moving in a predictable direction. That's always helpful for me as a photographer. But we'll try and tell you who's coming in and make sure we point out, hey, there's Jeremiah Smith, in case you don't recognize Jeremiah Smith without a big 4 on his shirt. But we've got a lot of stuff to talk about just from the first week of camp and all that kind of stuff. I guess we can start with, we can just kind of go position by position.
Sure. Right.
This is a for the quarterback position, this is and so I will apologize for the camera clicks that you're going to hear, but that's the whole point of being here.
Good.
The quarterback position, a lot of times at this time of year, there's at least a theoretical quarterback battle. This year, it doesn't feel like there's a theoretical battle. It doesn't really feel like there's much of a battle for the number 2 position either. It feels like you've got Julian Sayin feeling pretty comfortable as the number 1, and Tavian St. Clair feeling pretty comfortable as the number 2. But then the question is, how comfortable is Ohio State with Tavian St. Clair right now if he does have to be the number 1 at some point?
Well, and you've seen even Luke Fahey have some good moments in camp so far, to the point where onlookers are like, is Tavian St. Clair in danger? No, I don't think he's in any danger. But it's always good to have the guy behind you playing well or making plays.
Yeah.
And just get, kind of pushing you a little bit. And not that he needs push from a player, because Ryan Day is going to be pushing him constantly to be ready at any point to come into the game. And so overall, like, he's got to be ready. And he's a redshirt freshman. At this point last year, Julian Sayin was vying for a starting job. Tavian doesn't have to do that, but he still has to be ready to play.
Yeah, for sure. And he is, we always say, one snap away from being the guy, and that could happen. You look at Aaron Rodgers when he was with the Jets, and it was four snaps into the season or whatever, and all of a sudden, boom, your backup quarterback's your starting quarterback.
5 snaps if you include the Achilles.
Yeah, too soon. And you have seen Ohio State, 2014, Ohio State was on its backup quarterback before the season even started. So they have not had to lean on that backup quarterback very much, but it only takes one play to need that. And that to me remains one of the great unanswered questions right now, is just how comfortable would they be if it was the Tavian St. Clair show at some point.
And you saw how cautious they were with Julian Sayin against Texas in the opener. Now, that's Texas, but they were pretty cautious with him throughout, because he is new and everything he's doing is new. And so, why go crazy initially as we have more players making their way in?
So business is starting to pick up here.
Yeah, for about the next, I'd say 90 minutes, there's going to be a steady stream.
Yeah, sort of a steady stream. Do you have a favorite check-in day memory? I remember there was a year we were waiting for Tate Martell to show up. That was probably 2018, I'm guessing.
Yep.
17, 18.
It would have been 18 because
18.
we probably didn't care enough about
Yeah.
him in 17.
And he didn't show up or went in a side door.
Went in a
or
side
something.
door, I believe.
Yeah.
And Terrell Pryor used to do that as well.
Yeah.
From what I was told. But no, I think my favorite is still the Jeff Hireman story, when sometimes Jerry Emig would have interviews, let players come out and talk, and he let Jeff Hireman come out and talk after he got checked in, and Jeff was wearing a anti-cancer T-shirt. Basically,
how anti-cancer, Tony?
Very effing anti, basically, to give you an idea. And so Jeff is surrounded by reporters, and he's getting quotes, and they're talking, getting interviewed. And then Jerry, like at the last second, sees the shirt. He's like, "Oh no, oh no! Everybody's gonna see this now." So that was a fun one. I always enjoyed that one. That's something we laugh about every year, I think.
And this is there's C.J. Burnett coming in, former Buckeye safety, current Buckeye staffer.
With a little Julian Stan and Jeremiah Smith T-shirt, I believe.
Yeah, the
OSU Jam.
Yes, the NBA Jam style shirt. Is still a little weird to me to see current OSU players on merchandise, because that was always the biggest no-no. You had to get bootleg McNutt for Heisman shirts on from the vendors on Lane Avenue, and now you can get them from OSU directly.
That may have been the start of NIL. People want to credit Ed O'Bannon or Sam Keller. It may have been the McNutt for Heisman stuff way back in 2004 or so.
That was probably earlier than that.
Because he was on the 2002 team.
Yeah.
So maybe, yeah. Back in the day, as they say, Tom.
So we got a couple wide receivers coming in now. This is Nolan Botto on the left and David Adolph on the right. David Adolph wearing the Carnell Tate t-shirt. Speaking of player merchandise. Had a Tennessee Titans hat and a Carnell Tate shirt, so good
fan.
Synergy there.
Big fan.
Yes.
Carnell Tate making waves in camp right now with the Titans. Every day there's new highlight reel catches from him.
Sky's getting a little dark here. The forecast was getting a little more promising, but we are thankfully underneath the overhang. But I can make no promises about the audio quality. If it starts raining real hard on the overhang directly above us, it may sound like it's.
I can make some promises. It's not going to be great.
Here on the Buckeye Weekly podcast feed, for the first time ever, you are telling me.
Now I'm just waiting for like a fire engine to show up or something, or fire truck dropping off a lawnmower, perhaps.
Before we dive into some of the other positions, let's talk real quickly about why they do this. Because this is, why would you go into a hotel for several weeks during fall camp? I mean, that's something that, these guys obviously all have their own apartments here. Why would
not far from here, probably.
Not far from here, yeah. I mean, conveniently located to the football facility. So I think it would be logical to wonder why would you do this? And I think the answer is a couple different things. One is you get a chance to have the guys get together and spend. These are guys who spend a lot of time together anyway at the football facility. That's a frequent. Every day they're there, and every day they're there for a number of hours. But it's also a chance for them to just, hang out and just be around each other and sort of build that camaraderie. It's also a chance to eliminate some of the distractions. There's a reason they go into the hotel the night before games. This is a chance to just kind of block out the distractions. And it's usually just, like a couple weeks. This is because classes are going to start in, I think, 2 weeks, something like that. And then I think they'll be back in their apartments at that point. But
this is usually like, what, 10 to 14 days?
Yeah, it's between 1 to 2 weeks.
And it's just
usually.
So it can be all football.
Yeah.
And no other distractions and team building and all of that stuff. You're constantly around everybody and relying on each other to power through on day 8, 9, 10, 11.
Yep. You got Miles Lockhart here on the right.
As you can see, even the players love it.
Yes. Who doesn't love walking into a hotel?
While getting photos taken by the paparazzi.
Well, and every time I do this, I think about what I look like walking into a hotel and rolling like 3 suitcases with like, all my kids' stuff.
But Tom, when you get into a hotel, you've been dealing with 18 hours of driving.
Yes, that's true. Here comes Brock Boyd, freshman wide receiver.
Doing the fake phone check.
Mm-hmm.
No, I thought that was a fake phone check, but he was probably actually texting. It's the put it up to my ear. I'm talking, please.
Yeah.
Although the kids today, maybe they just fake the text.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think anyone talks on the phone anymore.
That's true.
So, running backs, kind of next position we need to talk about, and that's a spot where I think you could see any number of things happen there, and I wouldn't be completely surprised in terms of who has the most carries on the team, who has the second most carries on the team. It feels like, right now, based on what we're seeing, Isaiah West is making a legitimate move to get some more. Is this Julian Sand coming in? I can't tell. Just seeing it.
It's that way.
Looks a little like him. Yes, it sure is Julian Sand.
All right, there you go.
So
Starting quarterback has arrived. That's always a good sign.
Yes, good. They have a
Cross that one off the list.
It's like drafting a fantasy team. You want to make sure you got that quarterback. Good news, they have a quarterback here for their for fall camp. That's always a good start. It's always also nice when we're not talking about a position group as those guys are walking in. And let me tell you who's not going to be good this year.
You know who's got to get better. But yeah, the Isaiah West, Bo Jackson combo, however that shakes out, I'll just continue to say what I've been saying about Bo Jackson, and that so many people are talking about what he didn't do instead of what he did do last year. And I think people need to remember what he did do, and that he should be even better, as most sophomores are. Now, not all sophomore running backs are as good as they were as freshmen at Ohio State. We know that. But there's no reason to think that he's going to have a downturn other than, just like there's no reason to expect that, basically. And so if he's better than he was, he may have the exact same kind of year, but that would be because Isaiah West is taking carries and other guys are taking carries. But he could be just as effective or more so this year, I think, because they'll allow him to be used more in short yardage, allow him to finish some runs for a change, which he didn't really get to do last year.
Yeah, I think even if he has exactly the same type of year as he did last year, he's going to be a little bigger and stronger. The offensive line is going to be almost certainly better. And I think you're going to see, we'll see how much Julian Sand figures into the run game. They're saying all the right stuff right now, and if he can figure in there a little bit, that would certainly help. But I think just the change in offensive coordinator from Brian Hartline, who is, tends to be a passing game kind of guy as a former wide receiver and wide receiver coach, and Ryan Day as a former quarterback and former quarterback coach, and those are all sort of passing game guys. The running game looked one way with Chip Kelly, who was a little more rushing focused, and then last year when you had passing guys, the running game wasn't quite what it was. Now, the offensive line wasn't quite what it was for stretches last year, and also you had freshman running backs, so you can, it is sort of a little bit of a choose your own adventure in terms of what do you want to chalk the step back in the run game up to, because you have lots of choices. But all of those choices, in terms of older running backs, presumably a better offensive line, and also an offensive coordinator who has not just extensive experience in terms of designing and being focused on the run game, but also at the NFL level, to the point where he was an NFL head coach, that could be really a game changer for them. And so even if Bo Jackson's loses a bunch of carries, he may still end up with better top line numbers, and then and then we can get into some of the other guys.
Yeah, I think the effectiveness and the ability to build off of stuff is something that
This is
Arthur
Chris
Smith
Henry Jr. coming in right now.
has
wide
more
receiver.
experience at than Brian Hartline did. As we see Chris Henry Jr. coming in. So Brock Boyd, first freshman receiver to have his black stripe removed.
Yep.
First freshman receiver to arrive.
Yep.
Or did Jaden Ricketts beat him?
No,
I don't think
no,
so.
I think no. Jaden Ricketts was later. I think Jaden Ricketts was part of that group of 3 guys who came in later. So yeah.
But yeah, and then with the running backs, you've got those 2. I think everybody's fascinated to see what happens behind them with Legend Bay, who had a good day on Saturday, and then sounds like a good day on Sunday as well at the closed practice, and certainly deeper than they've been in a while, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. And then you've got other guys like Turbo Rogers. You've got Jacoby Jackson. I mean, you've got other guys who are sort of in that mix as well. So there's a lot of possibilities there. Brandon Innes in the middle here. This is Kyle Parker on the left. Jeremiah Smith on the right. So again, left to right, that was Kyle Parker, Brandon Innes, Jeremiah Smith. There's at least a possibility that is your starting 3 wide receivers. That's probably not the most likely 3.
You can ask that guy.
Yeah, there goes Julian saying the other direction.
So since we've seen the wide receivers, and you just said those might be your starters, and we've seen Devin McEwen step in as well.
Yeah.
Brock Boyd is going to push for time. Again, another group that is deeper and will go deeper than they did last year, and that's something that Cortez Hankton has done in his past. Brian Hartline really did not like to go too deep, but his rooms are always top heavy, so there's only so far you could go, I think, is how he viewed it. But even with this group, you've got Jeremiah, but then they had to go into the portal, get Kyle Parker, get Devin McEwen to raise up that veteran presence and the ability to not have to rely on so many young players, which they still might, but it's more of a luxury, and those guys earning the way rather than by default we have to play you because there's nobody else.
Right. You've got 4 true freshmen on this year's team: Chris Henry Jr., Jaquaden Guilford, Brock Boyd, and Jaden Ricketts. And you're certainly not going to see all 4 of those guys play. I think you're going to see 1 to 2 of those guys take meaningful snaps, and you'll probably see the others in the. There's Kayla Olson right now, the team nutritionist coming in. We'll probably here to tackle people with the cinnamon rolls. If you have a couple freshmen who are ready to contribute and play in that, top 6 or so, I think that would be a huge benefit to this team because the talent's there. And as you said, Cortez Hankton has tended to be a little bit more willing to play rotational guys, like go 3, 4, go past the top 3 or 4 and play guys 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. And, again, there's so many different variables here. How much of that is that he didn't have the Jeremiah Smith or Marvin Harrison Jr. or guys like that on the top of his wide receiver depth charts at LSU? How much of that is that he had, maybe he had just not as much difference between number 3 and number 6, and how much of that is just he likes to play guys more? And that's a little bit of an open question. I think we're going to learn a lot more about how much of that was just sort of a philosophical thing versus a roster construction thing at LSU. But I'm expecting, between the fact that there isn't a Carnell Tate opposite Jeremiah Smith this year, and the fact that you've got some talented true freshmen below them, and they've brought in, I think Devin McEwen is probably most likely to be starting opposite Jeremiah Smith right now, and you've got Kyle Parker, and you've got Brandon Innes, and those are probably 4 of your top 6 right there. But if you get a Chris Henry in there, if you get a Brock Boyd in there, I think you're going to see probably a deeper rotation where, how much did the number 6 wide receiver on last year's team play? Was that Quincy Porter, and he played 57 snaps, something
probably.
like that? I think you're going to see probably more like 100 to 150. There goes Jeremiah Smith the other direction. I think you're going to see more depth being played and more rotation being played. But the other piece of that is how much you play 3 wide receivers and how much you play in 2 tight ends, because we've talked a bunch about the growth of 12 personnel and the fact that is happening a little bit more now. So there's a lot of different elements that go into these conversations.
As we see
Some of the
receivers
young wide
heading
receivers,
out.
yes, the young wide receivers going out there. Yeah, I think I said earlier that I think I called Jaden Ricketts Miles Lockhart. And it's definitely Jaden Ricketts and not Miles Lockhart. The real question is how many of these guys will we get coming back again, where we get the bonus second arrival. Usually these guys come in, drop their stuff, and we'll go out and grab dinner somewhere or something like that, and then come back when they have to be back later for meetings. But
what's bed check? 8:30? Who knows?
I would assume they will have a team meeting around 7:30 or 8. I would guess, and they'll have a hotel ballroom or something set aside for that.
Although I will say, it is much calmer around here than it was in years past.
Yeah,
which is nice, I guess. You don't have to worry about people being in your way, Tom, as you're shooting photos.
A lot fewer people here this year, which is not a bad thing.
And it almost went away last year, but it is back.
Yeah.
Speaking of being back, Tom, the year of the tight end, as we know.
Yes, the year of the tight end, as now more than ever. Who is the number 1 tight end on this team right now? I feel like I have an answer, but I'm willing to be talked out of it.
I think sometimes it's Nate Roberts, and sometimes it's Hunter Welsing, and sometimes it's Mason Williams, and sometimes it's Benny Christian. So, thank you. That's my answer. It's
way to really plant your flag on something and
now.
Stay true
will
to what
I
you believe.
be? If they open an 11 personnel against Ball State in their first snap, I would say it would be Nate Roberts, but it just depends on what they want to do.
Yeah, I would assume Nate Roberts is going to be the guy who has the most receptions at tight end this year, the guy who probably plays the most snaps at tight end this year. Although that, again, situationally, you can't just have this is the receiving tight end and this is the blocking tight end, because that obviously just completely tips off what you're doing, and you don't want to do that. But I do think you're going to see more of him than you're going to see of anyone else this year at the tight end spot. But we haven't seen that much of Hunter Welsing yet.
No.
We haven't seen that much of Mason Williams yet. So Mason
of course, we haven't seen that much of Nate Roberts at tight end either.
Right. Yeah, and Mason Williams in my head, I just go, well, he's Will Kazmarek too, because he's the tight end who transferred from Ohio University, and he was a little more known for his blocking. But is he as good as Will Kazmarek? That's a pretty high bar. Will Kazmarek was an immediate impact guy for Ohio State his first year. If they get that out of Mason Williams, I think they would be doing. Keenan Bailey might be doing cartwheels.
Back in 2024, Keenan Bailey said he told his team they were the least talented position room on the team, and so you had to do it through effort and grit and toughness and all of that. Last year, they were not the least talented. They were one of the deepest, and they had 2 NFL guys in there. Mm-hmm. This year, though, they may be trending back towards, I don't want to say the least talented, but they're in that discussion. And that's not a knock on them. It just, they've got to refocus, just continue to be the toughest room in there. And that's going to be a continued focus for Keenan Bailey.
That's linebacker Sincere Johnson right there. Yeah, it's an interesting mix, because there's lots of guys who you could say, yeah, that's a guy who could play 30 snaps a game for him. Mm-hmm. But I don't know that, outside of Nate Roberts, I don't know that there's anyone that I think I would be surprised if that guy wasn't playing 20 snaps a game.
Yeah.
I mean, it just feels like there's a lot of guys who could play, and then how much does he want to rotate? So this is Ryan Rudzinski on the left and Austin Siereveld on the right. Austin Siereveld wearing the Nolan Botto t-shirt. That is incredible. That is fantastic, representing your teammate right there. Nolan Botto, the walk-on wide receiver at number 23. We saw him earlier.
So that's 2 Ohio State receivers on T-shirts we've seen so far. Carnell Tate, Nolan
and
Botto.
Nolan Botto, yes, definitely the 2 you would expect.
Yep. Oh, and CJ Barnett came in with the Julian Say and Jeremiah. So it's 1-1-1.
Yeah.
We will see who wins by the end of the day.
Nolan Botto is a really interesting figure on the team because he is one of those people who I would bet the average fan would not look twice at if they saw him in public and would not be able to pick out of a lineup. But he's one of those people that is, I think, one of the low-key more respected, most respected guys on the team. He's someone you see with a headset out there a lot. Like you can tell someone who probably has a future in coaching in mind, and I think a pretty sharp guy as well, but really well liked among the team, I think, too.
And I believe he was a teammate of Carnell Tate's at Marist in Chicago.
Yeah.
And came to Ohio State and has stuck it out. So yeah, very much looks like coaching in his future, because as you said, you can always see him on the sideline during games or mainly during games with a headset with a certain colored jersey or pullover, so that players know to look for him. And it takes a village type of thing, and there are so many people like that around where if they weren't there, somebody would be missing them in terms of that's another role that somebody would have to fill, because there's not a lot of superfluous stuff going on. It's all of it's massive, but everybody has a job, and it's constant.
Well, yeah, and everything if you go to a practice, everything is so tightly scripted that okay, the next period, it's not just here's what we're doing the next period. It is here's what we're doing the next period, and the linebackers are going to be at this particular spot on the field, and the tackling donuts have to be over here, or the bags have to be over here, and they have to be set up this way, and there's people who are in charge of all of that stuff. And Tavian St. Clair coming in here on the left, backup quarterback. Elijah Goins-Jackson on the right, backup offensive lineman.
So is that 2 quarterbacks we've seen so
far? 2 quarterbacks so far, yes. And they seem to be coming in the order of the depth chart. So we'll see if Luke Fahey or Justin Martin comes in next.
Breaking news.
And then we'll be able to. I would maybe write a updated depth chart post for the insiders on our insiders board at BuckeyeInsiders.com.
We've done the what order do they practice in terms of reading tea leaves. Never done it in which order they arrive in, because generally the starting quarterback, I don't know the stats on this one. Maybe Dan Hope at 11 Warriors. How often is the starting quarterback the first quarterback to arrive? Because I'm going to say it's not that often.
Not that often, no. Yeah, now we've kind of hit a spot where it feels like you're getting kind of a constant stream of guys coming in just occasionally. That parking garage across the street is really full. I do wonder if people are going to have to park up on the roof to find a spot, and that might delay folks coming in a little bit. So we're through wide receivers, or through tight ends. So we can talk a little wide receivers right now.
We've talked receivers.
Jeremiah Smith. Jeremiah Smith, number 1 for sure. And we did talk a little bit about the rotation at wide receiver, but in terms of who's going to be the guy opposite Jeremiah Smith, it feels to me like right now, based on what we've seen so far, it's going to be Devin McEwen outside at that Z position, that sort of field stretching receiver. And he's had some great days and he's had some okay days so far. And, there've only been 4 practices, so that pretty much runs the gamut of the kind of days you can have in fall camp at this point. But I think he's someone who, between him and Kyle Parker has been hurt, so we haven't really seen him. So I think with Devin McEwen, I think you've seen enough to think, yeah, they're going to get something out of Devin McEwen this year. And then Kyle Parker, he's a little bit more of an open question in terms of what you're going to get. The person who I think of anyone in that building would know best what you're going to get out of Kyle Parker is his position coach, Cortez Hankton, who was also his position coach at LSU. The fact that he brought him over, that's, a pretty good sign that, okay, this is someone who really believes in him and likes him and wants him around.
And I'm just still waiting to find out how much slot versus how much Z is in his future.
Yeah.
Because he can do both. And he's got the ability to run after catch. We've seen him do both at LSU and still, 10 and a half yards a catch in his career, which needs to improve. But a lot of the quick stuff, he can run through arm tackles. He's quick, he's fast enough. It's one of those things like Riley Pettyjohn missing the spring, so you got to figure out what he can do. Kyle Parker was in the spring, so they at least have that baseline. But they're getting this offense going now, and to not have him out there is unfortunate. But he's a veteran, so he should be able to pick things up.
Yeah, it feels like, well, we've seen 3 days of practice. They've got to be almost done with fall camp. It's no, they're just barely, not quite 20% of the way through fall camp at this point. So they've got a long way to go till that first game. But you definitely don't want to be behind. You don't want to start behind the 8 ball. That makes it challenging. But they've got guys. He's someone who, at least you're a veteran. You're coming in. Max LeBlanc, the first one coming in here, and then Alec Del Signor. LeBlanc is a tight end. Del Signor is a walk-on linebacker. Even the other players are commenting and complimenting Austin Serveld on his No One Auto t-shirt. That's
left tackle / right
that's
guard.
That's when you were pulling it off.
That shirt doesn't wear him. He wears that shirt.
Yep.
I don't know.
So among the freshmen, how many freshman wide receivers finish with what's the baseline number where it's like this is a good freshman season for an Ohio State wide receiver? 150 yards, 175 yards, 200 yards. What's the baseline for, as far as a true freshman wide receiver season goes? This is a good number, and how many guys get there this year?
Emeka Egbuka, as a true freshman, had I think 191 yards receiving, and like 90 of those came on one catch. 81 of those came on one catch. Marvin Harrison had like 150, 170.
Something like
on 11 catches.
Yeah,
so
yeah, and half of that came in the Rose Bowl, and that was only because 2 guys had opted out.
So those are always the guys that I use to calm people down. Jackson Smith and Jigba, 10 for 49 during the COVID year.
Yeah, and that was the COVID year, and he played a good bit.
Yeah,
but
that's
you've
just got to dial the expectations way down. Now,
yeah.
I think Chris Henry is going to do more than what Marvin Harrison and Emeka Egbuka did. I think those would be a good baseline for Brock Boyd as the 5th or 6th guy. Juck and I did a show on the which freshmen are going to make the 100 snap club this year. And to give you an idea of 100 snaps, Zion Grady had like 104 or 106 last year. So that's how much that guy plays. We only had 2 receivers cracking that. I think we had Jaquaden Guilford under that, and Jaden Ricketts, of course, under that. But those 2 guys are going to play over 100 snaps, I think. And we maybe had 5 or 6 others on that list. It was not a deep list because it's a deep team.
Yeah. So if you're looking at 100 snaps and you're going to spot me those 2 wide receivers, I will put Jay Timmons comfortably on that list. I would assume Legend Bay probably makes that list. And then other than them, is it one of the defensive ends? Do you think a Dre Quinn or a
Kari Wilder,
or someone like that makes it? Or
and maybe a Blaine Bradford.
Could be Blaine Bradford at safety. That's a possibility. Yeah. It just, but you're right. That does not sound like very many snaps. You go, across 15 games.
Yeah.
100 snaps is
6 or 7 a game.
6 or 7 a game, and you figure there's a lot of games where you're not playing even then.
Because there are games where Devin Sanchez only played on special teams, and he had over 300 snaps.
Yeah.
So, like Jordan Thomas, he's got a chance, but there will be games where he's only on special teams.
And I think you're going to see guys play more snaps now than they might have a year or two ago, even if it's just a handful more, because you're not trying to maintain the 4 games in the regular season to maintain the redshirt year. Whether Jordan Thomas plays 100 snaps plays 50 snaps in 4 different games, or Jordan Thomas plays 1 snap in every regular season game, Jordan Thomas has burned a year of eligibility.
Yeah.
And that's true of everyone else. So I think you're more likely to see guys, you're certainly going to see more guys out there on special teams. Like he's someone who, a corner, a safety, a linebacker, those are the guys who want to be on kick coverage. I think you're throwing all those guys who are really good athletes out there on kick coverage, even if you're not thinking they're going to be on defense. But you can go ahead and go play 3 snaps at the end of the game.
Exactly.
If you're up by 4 touchdowns on the last drive,
right.
Yeah, go get 3 snaps and just have a little bit of tape to teach off of.
Yeah, no reason not to. You're not hiding anybody. You're not protecting anybody. You're not saving anybody. There's Jermaine Matthews.
All right, Jermaine Matthews right there. Using some outside technique there on us.
Sneaking on in before you even got to. Yeah, he's crafty. Has a kind of a corner blitz right there.
Yeah.
So you got to keep your head on a swivel.
Indeed. Yes.
They're not all just going to come right at you.
No. So let's move on to the offensive line now, because this is sort of the storyline of fall camp, where we know they're going to play 5 guys. If you give me a list of 8, maybe even 7, I think I could tell you with almost 100% certainty, yes, it is going to be a choice of 5 within this group, maybe even 6.
Right.
I mean, you're looking at some combination of Ian Moore. You know it's going to be Luke Montgomery at left guard. You know it's going to be Carson Hinsman at center. We're reasonably sure it's going to be Philip Daniels at right tackle, even though Ryan Day did mention his name in this conversation. You know Austin Searveld's going to be in there somewhere. And then it's just a matter of, okay, is it? Oh, I didn't recognize. I didn't put it together. Max LeBlanc, the tight end, wearing a Max Clare number 86 jersey. I looked at the Rams 86 jersey and thought,
meant nothing to me.
Yeah, is that Puka? I don't know who that is. Yes, that makes way more sense. Yeah, guys repping teammates. That's pretty fun. So you've got this group of Ian Moore, Josh Padilla. Really, in a lot of ways, it feels like those 2 guys are the ones who are really fighting to be part of that best 5.
They're competing against each other, but they're not competing against each other. It's going to be one of those 2, but they're playing different spots, and so it's not a true head-to-head, 1-to-1 battle, which makes it even more interesting because you've got to look at more parts and other people factor in just besides those 2, which makes the math a little bit more complicated. And one guy may be better, maybe like grades higher, but does the change that he brings about grade the offensive line lower?
Right. Well, yeah, Ian Moore has to be hoping that Austin Searveld is an incredible right guard.
Right.
That Austin Searveld is a better right guard than he is a left tackle.
Yeah.
And Austin Searveld was a pretty darn good left tackle last year. And Josh Padilla is the right guard. If he and we'll just say Josh Padilla at right guard and Ian Moore at left tackle grade out exactly the same. So then it comes down to, okay, where is Austin Searveld better?
Yeah. Right.
Because it's just your best 5 is whatever the best combination of the 5 is, and Austin Searveld's playing somewhere. So where does he fit in that best 5?
And that's what camp is for. That's why we've seen Ian Moore at left tackle and right tackle. We've seen Austin Searveld at left tackle and right guard. We've seen Josh Padilla at right guard and center. And as things get a little bit more congested here. Are we now at Buckeye Weekly?
What's that?
So are we now at Buckeye Weekly?
Yes, it's now. Yeah, it's now officially Buckeye Weekly because we had a car going through with a very loud engine.
Let's watch this one. Yeah, plenty of room.
Yeah. Got tight
Easy.
squeeze over there, but made it out.
Like a glove.
All right, there goes Jermaine Matthews again. So there you go. We promise that's him.
But yeah, then you get into the whole who's the third tackle, and because if it's not, like you know who the third tackle is because it's either Austin Searveld or it's Ian Moore. Mm-hmm. Who is the third guard? Well, it's either Josh Padilla or Austin Searveld. So it's like all of the what ifs and all of the other math still just comes down to Ian Moore and Josh Padilla.
And the second center is presumably Josh Padilla. So then if Carson Hinsman goes down, then Padilla is either just coming off the bench to play center, or he's moving from guard to. And if the center goes down, then and Ian Moore is not a starter. Mm-hmm. Well, then Ian Moore may become a starter at that point. There's a lot of moving pieces.
Yeah, like if Austin Searveld is your right guard, and he goes down, is the better right guard center combination? Because Carson Hinsman, I don't think you want to move him from center, but you could because he's played guard. Mm-hmm. And Josh Padilla has played center about as much as he's played guard, which isn't a ton.
Yeah.
But I think at that point, I don't think they want to move their center.
Speaking of guards, here comes Luke Montgomery. Findlay, Ohio's own.
Get the car, coming.
There's a camp veteran bringing his own pillow. Someone who knows the process.
Always.
That's seniors.
Yep. Yeah, the seniors know all the ins and outs of the camp process. Now, he's someone who could theoretically be back for a 5th year next year because he played as a true freshman. This is only his fourth season. So that's one of those guys where you're having entirely different conversations at the end of these years now with some of these guys where it used to be, well, he's gone. Yep. Now, well, it'll be interesting to find out where the dividing line is for guys. Is that if you're if you're a first round pick, you're obviously going. If you're a second round pick after 4 years, you would assume you're probably going. If you're a third round pick, is that where the deciding line is? Is it a 4th round pick? Where's that line?
Looking at the salary slots, I think 4th round can be done because you can make more at Ohio State as a valued returning starter than you can as a 4th year in that 1 year, a 4th rounder in that 1 year. So then it becomes a very difficult decision and one where you want to, do you want to get to your second contract sooner, or do you want to try to vie for a better NFL deal? But if you're, after 4 years, you're a 4th rounder, you're probably not going to be a first rounder after a 5th year.
Right.
So if you know your lot, then you're like, well, college is fun. I like college, and I can make good money there. Or are you ready at this point where most seniors, I don't want to be at college any longer. Uh-huh. Now, college is different for Ohio State and big-time athletes. Mm-hmm. It's whereas for the normal people, it's like, yes, I want to be done. So it's a different kind of equation.
Here comes Bennett Christian, tight end.
Good.
And before Bennett was a couple safeties.
Cade Stover.
That's a Cade Stover jersey, yes, that he's rocking.
So that's 2 tight end jerseys so far.
Tight ends repping tight ends here.
3 receiver shirts.
This is Jeremy Ruckert erasure. The 2 guys right before Bennett were Simeon Caldwell and Caden Gebhart, a couple of true freshman safeties. We've got a couple guys coming in over here now.
Get ready for some noise. Here comes Edric
Houston on the right, and Blaine Bradford on the left.
Well, I can't find my issues to report.
It's always interesting to see the guys who come in together.
Yeah,
'Cause it's a true freshman safety and a veteran third-year defensive end, but they may have just pulled into the parking garage at the same
Right,
time. They may
right.
not have carpooled.
But it is, you'll see very odd combinations. And I'm trying to think of who was it that wore Liam McCullough's shirt the year after he was gone?
Was it Johnny Dixon?
Yes.
I feel like it was Johnny Dixon. And the Liam McCullough shirt thing, if you are not familiar with deep Ohio State internet lore. Former Ohio State long snapper Liam McCullough came in to this event as a freshman, got his picture taken. In his sophomore year, he wore a shirt with his picture from his freshman year hotel check-in day on it. And then his third year, he wore a picture with his second year hotel check-in day picture on it. So you had t-shirt inception, where by the time he was done, and I believe he played 5 years, he had a picture of Liam McCullough wearing a t-shirt with a picture of Liam McCullough on it, in which he was wearing a t-shirt with a picture of Liam McCullough on it, in which he was wearing a t-shirt with a picture of Liam McCullough on it, in which he was wearing a picture of a t-shirt with Liam McCullough on it. And it was just an incredible bit, and the payoff was just incredible. And then the next year, Johnny Dixon walks in wearing that shirt.
Yeah,
it was
a nice homage.
It was really tremendous. Oh, this looks like
The
Devin
awareness
Sanchez.
was high level.
Yes, this is Devin Sanchez right here. That is someone for whom there are some expectations this year
Yeah.
as a second year corner for Ohio State.
You know what I was thinking yesterday when he was naming all of the receivers that he circled? I don't think he mentioned Andrew Marsh,
Interesting.
but maybe he just didn't get there.
Maybe he was just working chronologically through the schedule.
Right, exactly. And he was.
Yeah.
Although I think he said, Oregon comes after Indiana. So yeah, he was doing. Maybe he didn't get all the way to that game, but that is going to be one huge matchup, individual matchup. Those two guys, fun to watch.
Yep, for sure. So I think we are on our way to. There goes Chris Henry again, who is very tall. He is moving to the defensive
And
side.
the receiver in the blue, is this?
Yeah, I don't think he's on the varsity roster. The defense, I guess we can start with the defensive ends, because you've got Kenyatta Jackson. He's going to be a starter. It sure feels, based on what we've seen so far in fall camp, like Bo Atkinson is going to be the other guy there. Or, and if he's not the starter, he's certainly going to be right in the, at the top in terms of snaps, if it, outside of Kenyatta Jackson. He's been the one with the ones so far through camp that we've seen. So then the question is, and then what?
Yeah. And really, I know there's a little bit of Ohio State fans not wanting to touch the hot stove again with Bo Atkinson, because there have been some positive reports. We've seen it. We've heard them. And so, those same people had expectations last year that didn't come to fruition, but he's bigger, he's stronger, he's quicker. I wonder, while we talk about who's after him and who's next, if, say, talk about 100, the pie chart, the 100% of snaps that do not belong to Kenyatta Jackson. What percentage of those belong to Bo Atkinson, Zion Grady, Quay Rousseau, Episatanale? So, like, if you got, how would you split that 100%? Is it 40 for Bo? Where are you there?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because you've got,
Is it 30?
you're dividing it between 5 guys, and so I think Quay Rousseau is kind of one of the big. I think one of the true sophomores, whether it's Episatanale or Zion Grady, is not going to play as much as we think. So you can give whichever one of them you want,
Right.
10, 15%, and I think you're going to give the other one 20 or 25. So that's, we'll say 40 there, and Quay Rousseau is kind of the $64,000 question to me, because is he viewed as just he's going to be one of the defensive ends, or is he viewed as a situational guy?
If he's situational, you're talking 25%.
If he's situational, then he's 20-25%. If he's viewed as one of the guys, he could be 40%. Because I have big expectations for him. It just is a matter of, do they feel he can hold up against the run, where he could just be a true defensive end, or is he just a situational pass rush guy?
Because if you're going to give him 25%, then that leaves 35% for Bo Atkinson, which leaves everybody else out. We saw Drake Quinn have some good moments on Saturday, so it's certainly a good problem to have. But at some point, everybody kind of wants to pare down a rotation, because you don't ever want to get down to your last guy being the guy that's out there for key snaps.
Right. Yeah, I think you're going to see Bo Atkinson for the non-Kenyatta Jackson. Of the non-Kenyatta Jackson guys, I think there's a pretty good chance Bo Atkinson gets the most snaps of the non-Kenyatta Jackson guys. And is that 30% of those remaining snaps, or 40%, or something in that 30 to 40 range is probably about right. This is going to be Riley Pettyjohn coming in here, linebacker. Someone who we will be talking about in just a few moments, because he has been someone for whom there is another person for whom there is some expectation this year.
How's that sun going to work on your photos?
Well, it's going to either be a terrible glare or give me a wonderful, incredible backlight that will make it look like someone who, each of these players is destined for an incredible season. And we'll just have to see.
All right, I got you. Okay.
So that was Riley Pettyjohn walking in just now. And we need to get to the linebackers in a minute, but we do need to talk a little defensive tackle first. And defensive tackles are interesting because it feels like you've got a top four, and they feel very good about the top four.
Yep.
Where you've got John Walker and Will Smith, you've got Edric Houston and James Smith, and those four guys, I think they feel really, really good about. And if those four guys stay healthy, that's probably plenty to get you through the whole season, where you can play those guys 50-50 or 60-40 or 70-30 in terms of snaps and keep everyone relatively fresh. Well, but then there's potential behind those guys.
Well, and you've got Jason Moore still. They've got some talented freshmen. Jameer Perez, true freshman out of Glenville, listed at I think 340 now, down from 360. He had a couple of moments in the backfield, or blowing up the backfield on Saturday, and just glimpses, but it was obviously good to see of a true freshman. But what we haven't seen is a lot of cross training, because I've seen John Walker at nose, Will Smith at nose, and then Edric Houston walking off at 3 tech with James Smith. So it'll be interesting to see if we ever get to see James Smith and Edric Houston together.
Carson Hinson, just like Luke Montgomery, a veteran who knows to bring his own pillow. Very smart.
I know. Pillow and snacks.
Pillow and snacks. There you go. That is the lessons from the veteran offensive lineman.
Sounds like the title of an album recorded by offensive linemen.
Well, you know what they do on the plane after a win, Austin and Carson and Luke. They drink a Dr. Pepper on the plane on the way home. That is their post-win airplane tradition. So there on the left there was Josh Padilla coming in, and as we mentioned earlier, he is definitely one of the big storylines during fall camp. That is definitely one of the people to watch and names to know during fall camp.
And it'll be interesting, they have rotated the right guard over the last couple of years.
During the playoff.
Yeah.
I remember going into the playoff in 2024 as they're getting ready to head into that Tennessee game, and they're saying,
"Are you sure?
We might be rotating these 3 guards," and you and I looking at each other and going, "They're kidding, right?"
Yeah.
They were not kidding.
It always felt like the byproduct of not necessarily loving your right guard, which I think would not be the case this year. if I guess if it's Austin Searveld, there'd be no rotating.
No.
And even
no.
Gabe Van Sickle played a bit last year, got a start, did not go well, but he was playing against some of the best defensive lines.
Right. Yeah, that didn't
So,
go well for a lot of guys.
Right. If you're going to judge an offensive lineman by what happened in the Miami game, that's one of the reasons people are not happy necessarily that Ohio State has 4 starters returning.
Right.
A lot of some of the Ohio State fans.
But at the same time, you have the Joe Moore Award folks who know a little bit about offensive line play.
Yes.
Pointing at that. It was Ahmed Tunkara, by the way.
I know that.
Okay. Walk on offensive line. I didn't want to interrupt you. As we see folks, we want to let people know who's coming in.
I know who this is too.
Do you? Oh, yes, you do.
Here comes Peyton Pierce.
Yes, this is Peyton Pierce. We've also now discovered that Tony has better eyesight than me.
Got the box fan, doing it like a pro. Have fans will travel.
Mm-hmm. And that was with him was Mason Williams, the tight end. That was the tight end transfer from Ohio that we mentioned earlier. I'm looking at all these folks and going, boy, there's a lot of new faces this year. But we knew that already. They said 51 new faces this year. It's like, boy, yeah, there's a lot of guys for whom this is a new thing, walking in and seeing a bunch of weirdos sweating outside.
It is a little muggy.
Yeah. Yeah, the thunderstorms came through earlier, and it felt delightful in Columbus about 6 hours ago, and
now
I'm no longer happy to be in jeans.
Yeah.
And we'll probably stick around here for a little while longer. I'm trying to think who we have not seen yet. We have not seen Bo Jackson. I don't think we've seen Isaiah West. I don't
No
think we've
Luke
seen
Fahey?
Ian Moore.
No. Have we seen any of the safeties?
Yeah, I was just thinking through like Earl Little, Terry Moore. I'm not sure.
Have not seen Jalen McClain?
No.
And again, there's no reason for concern. We're just going through a mental checklist here.
And I don't know that there's, to go back to the Tate Martell year, I don't know that there's anyone here that Jeremiah Smith is here,
Right.
Billy Insane is here. I don't know that there's anyone in Club Martell where we're going to stick around till 9 o'clock just to make sure they have checked in.
No, I am not.
My phone will run out of battery at some point too, so we'll have to stop for that reason, if nothing else.
I have not seen Nate Roberts yet.
No, I have not. This is Landry Breed, true freshman offensive lineman on the left here.
Coach Walt has arrived.
Coach Walt.
Have we seen Legend Bay?
I don't know that we have.
Have we seen... Yeah, he was one I was just wondering about. Have we seen Jay Timmons?
I don't think I've seen Jay Timmons, no.
Sometimes the freshmen arrive on a bus.
That does happen.
I don't know if that still happens in the NIL world.
Yeah, that I don't know, but yes, there used to be a bus of, and there's a bunch of guys walking in right now. And these are some guys we've seen before. Riley Pettyjohn once again. Braxton Rembert. We got Miles Lockhart on the right here. Braxton Rembert in the red.
So at this point, no Justin Martin yet?
I don't think I've seen Justin Martin. I don't think I've seen Luke Fahey, right?
No Kenyatta Jackson?
No Kenyatta Jackson.
No Bo Atkinson?
No.
No Quay Rousseau?
I don't think so. There goes Braxton Rembert the other way.
All 6'5" of him?
Yeah, he is a big dude.
Mm-hmm. So just imagine in 2 years when he's 253 pounds.
That's not someone that you're probably going to be seeing a ton this year. situationally and maybe on special teams. Like that's the kind of person that might be a real special teams assassin this year, but probably not seeing a lot on defense in that linebacker room.
A couple of special teamers among the freshmen that I saw on Saturday were Chris Henry Jr. and Jaquan Guilford on punt block.
Ooh.
And
Chris Henry Jr.'s got some speed and some length to him.
Yeah, they were getting after it for sure, and I thought that was an interesting combo.
This is Sam Greer, offensive lineman.
Because we have seen freshman wide receivers get some big punt blocks in their time.
Yep.
Namely Chris Olave.
Uh-huh. Yep. That's another person right there in Sam Greer who is not going to be a this year person, but a watch this space person. He is someone who, we'll see how this year's tackle situation plays out and who's back next year and all that kind of stuff. But that is someone who I would bet on being a starting tackle at Ohio State at some point, 2027 or 2028, whatever it is.
Because I know Sam Greer, I think probably right now he's battling for the, I guess, 5th tackle spot if we count Austin Searveld, Ian Moore.
If you count whichever guy is
and then Carter Lowe has been repping in front of him. Vashawn Washington has also been in there a little bit.
Springfield, Ohio native,
right.
And transfer from Dartmouth. So,
fallback school.
From the Big Green to...
And then Deontay Armstrong has also been in that mix as well.
Yep.
So we saw Sam Greer in the spring getting a lot of reps with the twos because of injuries to Phillip Daniels and Austin Searveld. But now you're seeing maybe some of the veterans kind of, hold them off for now.
Right.
But we'll see.
Well, and when we saw him in the spring, it was only because there were some guys out. But he didn't look completely out of place as a true freshman in the spring with the twos. And that to me is a pretty good marker for future success. Again, not this year, but someone that is probably going to be a player to keep a real close eye on in the next couple of years, because he's going to be someone who's going to be playing a lot of very meaningful snaps at a very meaningful spot for Ohio State.
We've talked defensive line. We've done a Buckeye Weekly recently about the linebackers. Speaking of, there goes Peyton Pierce.
Yep.
So we'll save all of the criticism until he's out of earshot. No. I'm just fascinated to see how deep they choose to go. One, how deep can they go? And then two, how deep they choose to go. Do they go as deep as they can if they can go 4 deep? And I think that's going to be interesting to watch because they're going to want to play the guys. They're going to want to get the young guys out there who came here and have, got some snaps last year as true freshmen. And now those sophomores, Riley Pettyjohn, TJ Alford. We said it after you lost freshmen to the transfer portal last year. You got to know what these guys can do.
Right. Yeah. And you are going to lose guys to the portal after 1 year just based on potential, because we've seen this recently in recruiting where Ohio State can want an in-state kid, but if a school like, I don't know, we'll say Colorado wants to throw a big check at them, that's hard to say no to. And so you're going to have guys in high school recruiting like that, but you're going to have guys after 1 year where you have the Ohio State stamp of approval on you. There are going to be a certain number of guys who are going to go in the portal. Notre Dame just took 2 Ohio State wide receivers who, after their true freshman seasons, and neither put up huge, one after Quincy Porter after his true freshman season and Mylan Graham after his second season, and neither of them had put up huge numbers. It was kind of a lot of potential and pedigree, but that, even for Notre Dame, which is fairly selective in the guys it takes, that's enough to.
And with the linebackers that we're talking about, you now invested 2 years into. You don't want to lose them, so you need to know, and especially because they'll be playing even more next year as juniors. And so it's just, if you lose them at this point, you have to replace them, and it becomes more difficult to do so. Because you don't want to lose somebody after 2 years of investing and then have, what to show for it.
Yeah, right.
350
Right. Yeah.
total snaps over
Yep.
2 years. After
FBC
all the work and effort
yeah.
that you put into it to go get 2 national recruits at linebacker.
Yeah. Well, I turn the camera over to let you see Jordan Woods, very tall corner.
Yeah.
Epi Satanale slid in the
I didn't
around
know.
the unblocked around the back side of the play.
Larry Johnson loves his ability to rush the passer.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and that's another guy who might be someone you see more of this year than people are expecting. Like there's a lot of potential there, and you never quite know first year to the second year how much growth is there, how much development is there, and how is that someone who's ready for a bigger role.
what are we at, about an hour and 10 minutes on this?
We're at an hour and 10 minutes right now, yes. So I can't imagine we're going to go past an hour and a half, but we can certainly get through our last couple position groups.
Yep.
And see who we see.
So we've kind of touched on linebackers. So then if we move to, I guess, let's talk corners, outside corners, which right now they're running. They've got 4 guys that are playing in the top 2, actually 5 when you throw in Jordan Thomas as well. But generally it's been with the first team, Devin Sanchez always.
Yes.
And then either Jermaine Matthews or Dominic Kelly. And then Dominic Kelly with the 2s with Cam Coleman or Cam Calhoun. And then sometimes you'll see Jordan Thomas out there. So those 5 guys. But we also know that the nickel situation is going to be impacted somehow with a guy like Jay Timmons, who could play corner, but he's been playing inside. He's been playing nickel with the 1s. And it's a deep group, except for the fact that there's 1 freshman nickel. And he's that position. But then you could also put Jermaine Matthews there. So overall, they've got some guys that can cover different spots and different ground, which I think makes them deeper just by that, by way of that.
There's a lot of potential there, and there's a lot of options there, and it's an intriguing group. It really is. You have so many guys who could potentially work their way in the group. You feel very good about the top 2, right?
Yep.
You feel very good about Jermaine Matthews. You feel very good about Devin Sanchez. And after that, man, Jay Timmons being where he is legitimately surprising.
Mm-hmm.
That is a legitimately impressive thing to have him where he is at the moment right now. That you're looking at. Here comes Jake Cook, offensive lineman.
The last batch coming in here.
This is Mickey Jones, defensive back. And he is one of the most sneakily athletic guys on the team.
Who's
Inky
that?
Jones. Inky
Oh,
Jones,
yeah.
Who that's one of the guys where, again, like I think the average fan wouldn't necessarily be able to tell you what number he wears or what he looks like. That's one of those guys that, man, he might make an NFL roster and stick for quite a while just because he's such a good athlete.
And I think he's number 1 working with the ones at Gunner right now.
Mm-hmm.
But also, he made Bruce Feldman's Freaks list.
Did he?
At
yeah.
maybe 21 or so.
Wow.
And
well, that's his uniform number, so that would make sense.
So, 6'2", 212, plays corner, began his career as a safety, special teams guy.
Yep.
Just all around good team guy, glue guy, if you will.
Yep.
Which is a good thing for a defensive back.
Yep. That was Tucker Smith. He was the one offensive lineman, the one player, one true freshman who was not a early enrollee. So he's the only one who is new this summer. And true freshman offensive lineman, you assume that's
Right.
we'll see you next year kind of thing.
Especially when you come
coming
in
in the
June.
summer, yeah, that's even more so the case. So, that's a very much a we'll see you next year, but he is here as well.
And then safety has been really interesting because with the ones, it's just been Jalen McLean and Earl Little. And Earl has been in the box, and Jalen McLean has been out deep or also to the field when they're playing splits. But there's been no 3 safety looks that we've seen between, because we had projected, everybody projected Terry Moore in there somewhere. And he's been with the 2s with Leroy Roker. Him and Leroy Roker going back and forth, just switching between boundary and field. And it's those 2 guys have been strictly with the 2s that we've seen. And it's been Jalen McLean and Earl Little strictly with the 1s. So that's why it feels like that is settled until we start seeing some packages with 3 safeties to know who is that 3rd safety.
Well, and the question to me with the defense, and this is kind of a big picture question, is are we going to see more alignments with 3 linebackers, 3 corners, or 3 safeties? Right now it feels like 3 safeties is probably running in 3rd place there.
Yeah, I would agree.
Where you're seeing when they're running the nickel out there, it's 3 corners. But you're going to see 4-3 because they're going to see a lot of 12 personnel from opponents this year. So I think I had sort of assumed, based on the fact that they brought in 2 transfer safeties and they had Jalen McLean coming back, and they played 3 safeties last year in the secondary, that you would have probably had 3, Terry Moore at that deep safety and Earl Little at that nickel, and that's not how it's been. And
nope.
So I think that you kind of have to give Jay Timmons credit for seizing a job that was not necessarily you don't have anyone else there to do it. They brought in guys who they thought could do it,
right.
And he maybe has sort of seized that spot.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to talk with Tim Walton, Matt Guerreri about. The coaches always say like, well, I don't like to project. It's like, well, but then why recruit? But like
this is a projection business,
right? What chances did they give when they were recruiting him, or when they signed him, or even in the spring, that this is going to be our starting nickelback? Because something had to happen, and maybe they knew back then because he's been out there since the very first weekend.
Yeah. Yep. Here comes Philip Daniels. I feel like I'm trying to pick up the blitz here. Got people coming from the left, people come from the right, people coming right up the A gap. No,
so many people
I don't care for it.
Happy to be checking into the hotel. They had the day off of practice today.
Yes.
They will not have the day off for a while, probably a week, maybe Sunday. I have not seen the entire, I don't remember the entire schedule for the practice, but they're going to be back at it on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in pads.
Yep, and then we will have interviews Wednesday with
Arthur
Smith and I think some other guys. Thursday is Matt Patricia and some other guys, and I believe Saturday we get Ryan Day again. So
I believe Wednesday it'll be offensive guys with Arthur Smith, and then some defensive guys with Matt Patricia. Just trying to, I think Brandon Innes is one of those guys, probably a lineman as well. So always interesting to see, to hear names unprompted or to get feedback on names that we ask about.
Yep.
Either way, this time of year works for me, but always, as we say, always better. Got that sciatica going.
Yep. Tim Walton, the cornerbacks coach, former Ohio State cornerback as well.
I wonder what hotel was he checking into back in like
1993? That's a good question.
Would that have been the old one over on Olentangy?
Could have been, yeah.
And it is right now 7:38.
Yeah,
so
so
they've
we're
been arriving for over an hour
now. Yeah,
which
we're
means
at an
they're
hour
almost
and-
all here.
Yeah, we're at an hour and 20 minutes right now, so we will probably start wrapping up relatively soon. May I just be the first to say that if you are the type of person who has made it through 80 minutes of watching Ohio State football players walk into a hotel,
Go on.
you are the type of person who might be right in the wheelhouse for a website like BuckeyeInsiders.com.
Yeah.
Because if you want to get real deep on stuff, that is the place to do it. We've got a team of insiders covering, Tony and I covering the team. You know us.
Mm-hmm.
We have Chuck Maletti covering recruiting. You know him, Chuck on Bucks, very popular YouTuber, but also a dynamite recruiting reporter, very well connected. We were delighted to get him on our team. Got Ross Fulton and Michael Pettit covering scheme stuff. Just dropped a couple of morning shows on the Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning feed with Michael Pettit, and you can find those on our YouTube channel as well. Did one with Michael sharing some thoughts on what he learned from watching, some takeaways from watching practice in person and getting to see all the stuff that he gets to see, because he had some different takeaways than I think you and I did, because he's looking at different stuff.
I'm looking at the football. He's not. He's looking at everything else.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He's looking at the stuff that matters. I'm distracted by the shiny objects. But still, sign up.
Yeah. It's not just Tony. Sign up.
Right, yes.
But and then for those of you who may also enjoy Ohio State basketball, well, we got a basketball insider as well. Marcus Hartman, longtime Ohio State beat writer. He is obviously covering football with us as well. So this is not purely basketball, but he's doing a lot of basketball stuff for us as well to kind of keep you up to speed. Because that was feedback that we got from members, was we'd like more basketball coverage, because frankly it seems like this is going to be a pretty interesting basketball team. So we will have some very focused basketball coverage for you as well. And if you're thinking about it, this would be a great time to sign up, get access to the site, get access to the community, which is really fun. It is a really interesting group of people, and I think a very good-hearted and fun group of people to talk football with, talk basketball with, talk. You know, you want to talk gardening? Sure, there's a gardening thread. You want to talk Blue Jackets? Yeah, there's a Blue Jackets thread. You want to talk? It's all there. Here comes Gabe Van Sickle. You've got a lot of fun stuff there. So we would love to have you join us there. You can sign up today at BuckeyeInsiders.com.
It's active but not weird, and it's not crazy.
Now I'm wondering if this is
it's healthy.
People getting in under the wire here.
Yeah. Let's see Christian Allegro.
Yeah, here comes Christian Allegro, linebacker.
Got a couple more stragglers coming in. I do wonder if it's get here by 8.
That's what I'm wondering is what the cutoff time is, when the clock strikes 0.
And then I think it would be good, like the cutoff is 8, but they make Connor Hawkins arrive at 7:58, but he has to get from his car
has to really hustle
from the second level to check in within 2 minutes.
And if he doesn't get checked in time, everyone has to do 3 laps around the hotel.
Yeah, or they make him parallel park.
Oh man, yeah.
So something like
I
that,
like
and not with these self-parking cars. Do it yourself. And if he can't do it, then everybody has to check in, check out, and check in again.
Check out, check back in again. Yep. Yeah, I think
that's next level.
That's what fall camp is all about. Here comes Bo Atkinson on the right here. One of the people we've been talking about quite a bit. And then we got 2 more guys coming in the middle. There's Garrett Stover in the middle.
Any concern about no Kenyatta Jackson yet?
Concern would probably be a strong,
No.
strong word, but any concern about Garrett Stover not repping Cade Stover.
Hey,
I mean, he repping John Deere, so that is very much the, here comes Vashawn Washington. He's the offensive lineman who transferred from David Dartmouth.
but isn't repping John Deere basically repping Cade Stover?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That, it is John Deere as closely associated
Right.
with the Stover brand as the Stover name itself.
All right,
So
we got
I
another
think-
jersey
I think
possibility
we'll allow
coming.
it,
Is
yeah.
that a Brian Hartline jersey?
It
Miami
does.
Dolphins.
I think 82 Dolphins might be a Brian Hartline jersey. That's Nate Roberts in the left. Oh, it's a
Will
Will
Kazmarek.
Kazmarek jersey. There you go. Shame on
So-
me for not remembering
Yeah,
who number
no.
82 on the Dolphins is. But you love that with the tight end room
Yeah.
really supporting the tight end room. That is
So-
very cool.
The tight ends have definitely won the day in terms of the jerseys.
Yes. Yep.
There have been no receiver jerseys, just receiver shirts.
Yes. Yeah.
Not even a jersey.
Yeah.
So we've seen Max Clare, Will Kazmarek, and Cade Stover
Yep.
jerseys.
Yep.
All by tight ends?
All by tight ends.
There you
yeah.
go. That's the
Yeah.
brotherhood. That'll make Keenan proud. Said, I want the toughest room and also the room that has the most jerseys of former teammates. And it turns out they're going to win like 3-0.
I think when we hit an hour and a half, we are going to call it. We're getting close to that point now.
Do you promise?
I can't make any promises.
That's the fun thing about this one is like, when do you choose to call it? And sometimes you wait until they're all here, and sometimes you wait until
Well,
you've seen everybody that you came to see.
And it's also
no
entirely
mysteries.
possible that someone like Kenyatta Jackson happened to go. Here comes Jason Moore, defensive tackle. It's entirely possible that someone like Kenyatta Jackson happened to come in on the right side
Yeah.
while we were facing to the left side. That's certainly a possibility. This looks like Deontay Armstrong, I
Yep.
believe. Yeah.
representing
Representing
Seth
Seth
McLaughlin.
McLaughlin, former Ohio State center, with the run the damn ball hat. Seth McLaughlin, I just saw, maybe in line to be the starting center for the
Yeah.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Detroit Lions.
Or Detroit
yeah.
Lions, sorry.
Cade Mays
Sorry, yeah.
went down with an injury, so he's not going to be back for a while. So Seth McLaughlin's the number one center right now for the Lions. So I know he's finally getting his shot after dealing with injuries
Yeah.
to start his
Yeah.
career.
Yeah, he was someone who, that's one of the stranger Ohio State careers that you'll ever have, where he was a national award winner, but only played 9 games, 10
Yeah,
games,
right.
something like that, and in his entire Ohio State career. So
Consensus All-American.
yeah, got a tree, but
I did swing by Buckeye Grove today. So they got placeholders for all
Okay.
of the new plaques finally.
okay.
Basically just a piece of paper saying this is where this one's going to go and this is where the trees are already there. They just got to get the plaques there
Yep.
for everybody. So that was good to see that they're on that now.
Zion Grady came in a minute or two ago, in case you were looking and
Right.
thinking, who is that guy who looks familiar? That was Zion Grady a minute ago.
And if you're wondering, no, the coaches don't stay here.
No.
Some staffers perhaps to
Ryan
keep.
Day told us the story of
Yeah.
he has served his time
Right.
in the fall camp salt mines.
Plus, was he the one who had to check in Jeremiah and
Yes, at Big Ten
Caleb
Media
Downs,
Days
right?
last year. Yeah, Big Ten Media
Yeah,
Days last year,
yes.
because neither Jeremiah Smith nor Caleb Downs nor Sonny Styles was yet 21 years old and could legally check into a hotel themselves. So, yeah, that was a good synopsis of the 2025 Ohio State football team. Young enough that all
Yeah.
their stars were still
and
not
that's
able
why
to check into a hotel room themselves.
Ryan Day doesn't want players graduating early from high school anymore. because I'm tired of checking players into the hotel. So you get here when you get here.
He knows he has to rent the car, but
Right. Yes.
all right, we're going to give this another 2 minutes, and if we don't see anyone, we are going to call it. Because I think we've got to be getting close to the end of the line here.
Right.
I can only think of a few plays. Jalen McClain, Kenyatta Jackson. There's only a few people.
Have we
I
seen
can
the running
think of.
backs yet?
No, that's true. We haven't seen Bo. I don't think I've seen Isaiah yet. I think I saw Turbo Rogers earlier.
I think you're right.
I think I saw Legend Bay too, like in the middle of a group of people where I didn't get a great look, but he was, I think, behind two other people as he came in. But I definitely have not seen Bo Jackson. I don't think I've seen Isaiah West. So
I've not seen James Smith
I've not
Or
seen
Will
James
Smith.
No.
or John Walker.
So you're telling me that we need to stick around for
No,
another?
I'm not saying that. And when you say we, you can.
While we're waiting, I guess we can very quickly hit on special teams.
Yeah.
Since we've
Well,
talked about
the
everything
interesting
else.
thing on Saturday is they had the transfer kicker from Notre Dame kicking from 50 and 60 rather than Connor Hawkins. When Day like stopped practice or whatever
Yeah,
after it
yeah.
was like, all right, let's go. And for the life of me, I can't remember the name. It's a
Yeah, he
Greek
was number
name, I believe.
49.
Yeah.
Yes.
and kicked a couple of times at Notre Dame last year.
Yep.
Huge leg because he was booming them early before practice. But I just thought it was interesting, and
All right, well, here comes Ian.
didn't really
Moore
get a chance
on
to
the
ask
right
Day
here,
about that.
so-
But maybe that's something we'll eventually get to. It's just, it's not necessarily at the forefront when you're asking questions about camp where things are with the kickers. And that's, that's partly our fault. But still, it's a lightning round, so
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, and every year I think it would probably be ridiculous to come out here with a roster and like check guys off because you're not really taking attendance, but also you're trying to remember.
yeah. Well, I've seen people do that, but then they leave before everybody's gone, before
Right,
everybody's here
right,
anyway.
Yeah,
So it's like,
yeah. I think this is Will Smith coming in over the left here. Looks like Will, I think. Well, he's going to walk all the way down the sidewalk.
but we are starting to lose media members,
Yeah, yeah.
and you're going to be losing another one pretty soon, Tom. Just so you know.
Another veteran coming with his own pillow. That feels like that might be the storyline of the day.
And at this point tomorrow, they're probably going to be exhausted.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Well, Tom, you
All
said
right.
2
I
minutes.
think we have hit our magical time. So the sun is setting over the parking garage. We'll set you home with the beautiful sight of the sun setting over the parking garage. That is how you know. That's how the Druids knew when it was time to stop.
That's right. As soon as it
recording.
touches the parking
hotel
garage,
media day check-in, hotel check-in day.
check-in solstice.
It's not officially a media day, no matter what we say.
That's right.
But we do appreciate all of you guys sticking with us through all of this lunacy and this annual Ohio State football tradition. We would love to talk about all of it with you at BuckeyeInsiders.com. Also, take a second. If you've watched all this, take a second. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Here come the specialists. Specialist coming in now. This is Dalton Riggs, long snapper on the left. Connor Hawkins, Joe McGuire. So you've got. So now we've got.
Now
the
we can go.
specialists.
Right. Now we can go. Finally.
It is.
if they would have just shown up first.
Really, normally for a game, they're the first ones on the field. Here comes James Smith and Quay Rousseau. Blaine
Now, Tom?
Bradford, true freshman safety.
Blaine
We saw
Bradford.
earlier. So I will once again thank you for joining us, and
Oh, one more time.
I'm going to wrap this show at some point if it kills me. But we do appreciate you sticking with us through all this ridiculous nonsense,
Yeah.
and invite you to take a second, hit the subscribe button, leave us a comment as well.
Yeah, comments work.
Leave
Those
us a
are good.
comment. Who wore it best today?
That's right.
Who wore it best?
yeah.
Who was a do not do? Who was a who did not pull it off? Who pulled it off?
I've got nothing on the red carpet stuff. That's all you. That's your world.
So,
You're the paparazzi.
There you go. You want to talk high fashion with us, you can do it at BuckeyeInsiders.com. So thank you guys all for joining us. We will have less ridiculous content probably
Maybe.
next time.
No promises.